Hey folks, BlackCross here, and welcome back to another Backlog review video, guys. Yes, another Backlog video. If you guys have seen my last Backlog video, which was basically the first one of the Backlog reviews, I basically talked about the Dynasty Warriors Gundams. And now I want to talk about another game that is related to Gundam, known as Mobile Suit Gundam Crossfires. This was a PlayStation 3, and I wanted to play this and kind of give my overall thoughts and opinions about the game and stuff like that. And this is actually going to be one of those games that I'm going to actually be 100% honest with you guys. There's not a lot to talk about this game. That's not to say that this is a bad game. It's not. It's actually really good. It's just, it's not as big as what I thought it was going to be. So let's go ahead and talk about it. But before we can even remotely talk about the game, let me just show you something. Let me show you what the gameplay of this game looks like. Yeah, it's a little rough around the edges. Right off the back, you know, when you look at the gameplay, immediately the frame rate is the biggest downfall. The frame rate is the biggest thing that is a problem here, and it's like, holy crap. And the weird thing is, this was actually on like a couple of people's top 10 list of like Gundam games and stuff, and I'm just like, this was a top 10? But here's the thing, despite the fact that the frame rate was very rough, and it can be very rough depending, the game is actually pretty solid. It really is. It's just really rough. So let's first start off with basically how I started off the game. So basically, you get to choose between being the Earth Federation or the Sion group. Obviously, the first one that I decided to go with was the Earth Federation. And you're basically doing a testing on one of their earlier mobile suits. And so I didn't realize this, but you wasn't supposed to try to fight actual Xeon soldiers. You were supposed to fight just those Xeon troopers that they had salvaged themselves. As soon as the actual troop shows up, all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, and I get ready to fight them and I die. A lot. A very lot. And then I realized, oh wait, am I supposed to fight these guys? Because there was no like indication that I was supposed to fight these. So I turned the opposite direction and run back to my little group thing, and then mission ended. And I'm like, huh, weird. And this was like the start of the game. This was the start of like what would eventually become the first of a real challenging, hard lesson learned. So right off the back, I played through on normal, and the game is very, very unforgiving. It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, you're going to get killed a lot. You're going to die a lot. This is going to be a standard in this game. Why? Because the ideal of this game is not to beat the game. The ideal of this game is to develop your mobile suits. And that's kind of weird. That's kind of weird because I was actually looking and everything like that, and there is no losing condition. There is no like, yeah, this is, you're losing, you're not going to beat the game and stuff like that. In fact, really, you don't actually beat the game. You just kind of follow through a story progression of like the last part of the year of the 1-year war between the Earth Federation and the Sion forces. You're more or less just developing the Gundams and stuff. If you're able to beat a mission, you use those points in order to develop your Gundams even further. And I'm like, I think I'm starting to get this now. I'm starting to get this. Okay, this is interesting. But the thing is, you actually have to eventually beat a couple of missions and stuff like that, or otherwise you're never going to develop any of the mobile suits. But this becomes a time management in a way, because for every mission you go through, depending on the critical damage that your mobile suit goes through, depends on how many days that it's going to be out of commission until you're able to reuse them. So it's very crucial to get more mobile suits as you continue on playing through the game, to where that way you can change out between the 2 mobile suits or so. Then you also have the fact that you're also developing the mobile suits, and each time you pick a particular upgrade or whatever, it will take a full-on day before you're able to see that upgrade and stuff like that. So until they are fully ready, you can't use them. Whether they're being broke down or they're being upgraded. You're going to be purchasing a lot of different mobile suits and everything like that, but gradually as you go through the story and as you continue increasing your rank and stuff like that, you'll earn more mobile suits. You'll be earning more different Gundams and stuff like that, up to a point where you'll eventually get the actual Gundam itself. And I ain't gonna lie, a part of me actually kind of likes this game. A part of me actually likes this game because of the fact of the combat. When the game works perfectly, the game is really fun. It's really entertaining, and you feel really engaged as to how you're going to be using the mobile suit to survive and stuff. And you want to know what's really interesting? What makes me like the game the most isn't even the part where you customize the Gundam and stuff like that. No, the best part is how you survive. So, say for example, your arm gets blown off, your gun arm basically. You can still fight. Yes, you can either jab them with your shield or kick them with your foot, depending on the attack input. And it's like, it is so funny just to watch. Your Gundam slowly gets blown apart from his head to the arms, and so long as it has functioning legs, it can kick the enemy to death. So it makes you think of Mighty Python and the Holy Grail with that one Black Knight when all of his limbs is being chopped off and stuff, and I'm just laughing. It's like, this is so funny. I love this. It can be hard and difficult at times, but at the same time it has this interesting charm that kind of makes you stick with it to the very end, it feels like. And then of course you play as, whenever you do get around to it, you can play as the Zeon forces, and you get to play with the Zakus and the Gulongs and stuff like that. All these different ones, and it's very fascinating as to how their functionality are. Some of them could be really good, some of them not so good. But in a way, it makes you experiment a little bit. It makes you want to try out these different suits and stuff to see where the potential could be in everything. So overall, this game is really interesting to me. On the one hand, yes, frame rate is very rough, like very hard. And in some cases, depending on the mobile suit themselves, it's not a very good functioning mobile suit in some cases. Certain ones can only work as a ground route. So if you're trying to use a mobile suit to use their missiles and stuff to attack the air, some of them may not actually be functional for that specific mission. So it's always best to just kind of change around and stuff like that. But you're also upgrading the Gundam, so you're going to be getting new parts, you're going to be getting new weapons, you're going to be getting new stuff for these mobile suits and everything. So it kind of makes sense that there is no real losing condition. It's just you playing through the game, develop the mobile suits as best you can, to where that way they can eventually do better and everything. And even though I'm going to give this game a 3 out of 5, it's a 3 out of 5 that I would say, if I know you really well, and there's like a particular simulator that you play and stuff like that, I would tell you, this kind of makes it feel like that. It makes it feel more like a simulation of a Mobile Suit Gundam than anything. And really, that's not a bad thing, actually, in all honesty. I like the game personally, but I know for a fact there's not going to be a large amount of people that's going to look at this game and is going to look at it fondly and be like, yeah, I don't see why people like this. But depending on who you are, depending on the gameplay and everything like that, depending on your personal preference on gaming and everything, depends on if you're going to like this or not. If you hate how bad the frame rate looks, then yes, it's not for you. If you don't like how short the game is, it's definitely not for you. If you don't like the fact that it feels clunky at times, it's not for you. But if you can find some form of enjoyment out of this small little game, And it's really short. There's only like 25 per side. You know, there's 25 for the Zeon and 25 for the Federation. So yeah, not a very long game at all. And really, the enjoyment comes from developing the Gundams and then ultimately battling them out and trying to survive. You know, that's where the enjoyment is going to come from. And I have to say, it does well in my personal opinion. You just have to look hard for it. And that's all there is to it. It can be enjoyed. It's just not many people would. But there are some that might like it. So definitely 3 out of 5. And if you feel like you want to check it out, definitely check it out. If not, completely understandable. Just look at the footage and then use your best judgment. That's what I did, and I have to say, I'm glad I enjoyed it. So, anyway guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. This is BlackCross signing off. Catch you guys later.